So, kia ora everyone, here we are in New Zealand, and just emerging from lockdown, but I had a couple of armies ready to go for another solo game, so that's what we're doing here today. And what I thought I'd show here is just what you can do using some proxy armies, so figures that aren't made by Mantic, who makes Kings of War, but you can use them nonetheless. So, the two armies I'll be using here, let's have a look at them, starting with this one here, which is something called the Herd. And so this is very much like the old Warhammer Beastmen. In fact, this is an old Warhammer Beastmen army. Very old, a lot of it actually, some of it dating back to the 1980s, some of it to far more recent times, like I think those figures there, maybe after 2010 anyway. So, alright. And as you can see, some of these figures, they're just individually based, but on movement trays. So these are Mantic movement trays you can buy from them, but you can get trays of the right dimensions from anywhere really. Looking at this army from left to right here, we have Flying Beast, a Jabberwocky there, who sort of a medium grade flying monster with and it also has a breath attack, that one. Then we have some trappers who are an archer unit, pretty weak and puny really. Some warriors who are armed with a mix of equipment, and some have shields, some have light armour. Standard sort of unit. This big rumbling ball of death, this chariot horde, probably the toughest, definitely the toughest unit in the army. And here, this unit here, this is Longhorns, so these are the more elite beastmen or herd warriors with armour and double-handed weapons, and point for point they're one of the most damaging to the enemy units in the game, though still rather vulnerable to being killed themselves too. Not that tough. And behind them, some harpies, flying unit. And that Minotaur character there is counting as one of the special characters, Moonfang, who's a fast and quite strong special character. He also has a bit of regeneration. Another warrior unit. Another flying beast there, a cockatrice. So this is it's the same as the other one, except that it doesn't have a breath attack. And some more harpies. Okay, so the next force. This is actually a historical Napoleonic army. And so people use various army lists in Kings of War for these, and there's even some house rules for them, but I'm just using the straight rules, no changes to it here. And there tends to be two main ways people go with this. One obvious one is just a Kingdoms of Men army, but another commonly used one is Elves, which suits for several reasons. First, just Napoleonic French with their kind of pride and attention to the importance of their appearance and uniforms and so on. That kind of suits Elves. Plus, they were one of the best armies of that period for a very long time. And the other thing is actually the troop classes. So I'll just explain that a little further. So first of all, over here, what we have is some heavy cavalry, cuirassier. So that is pretty much knights. That's how they were historically. They've got breastplates, the cuirass, and they operate in a very similar way. And there's mounted, so they're counting the Stormwind Cavalry and in the elf list, and there's an Elven King, so a hero there leading them. So the next question is what to count Napoleonic infantry as in Kings of War. And at first glance, there's some obvious things like black powder armed human infantry, but a lot of people seem to favour elves because they have a unit called Threnian Sea Guard, and so this is a combined spear and shooting unit, and that actually matches how Napoleonic units could operate pretty well, because of course they had these long muskets with a big bayonet on top, and if they were threatened by cavalry, for example, they would form a hedgehog formation that was pretty good at fending off cavalry. So that's what all these infantry, 6 units of them are here, Threnian Sea Guard. So quite expensive units, and probably good at too many things, really. You might want a bit more specialisation rather than just having a unit that does everything. But we'll see how they go. And then something I should mention about them actually is so that they're equipped with bows. Now, black powder weapons will probably have piercing, but on the other hand, I think the elves being somewhat better to hit, but not having the piercing, meaning the extra ability to cause damage on them, having less of that is balanced out by the to hit rolls being somewhat better. These weapons were not accurate historically, so should even out. And besides, it's fantasy, who cares? The cannons, so there'll be 2 of them. They'll be counting as elven bolt throwers. So another character here at the back, this lady with her donkey. This is Cantonier. And so each Napoleonic unit of a company or so would have one of these attached to them, and they function to kind of provision units with specialty items in battle. Not infrequently, they'd help with the wounded, supplying brandy to keep people fighting harder and so on, and sometimes they're involved in combat themselves, so that's what she'll be doing. So Elven Mage equipped with Shroud of the Saints and a heal and Bane Chant spells, and mounted. And the last character is another Elven King there. This one counting as having the loot. It's a trumpet, but he's counting the loot of darkness or whatever it is that gives the Bane Chant spell. Okay, so the scenario here is Raze. So what that means is you're trying to capture objectives in the opponent's half of the table and the central one. So there's the central objective, that egg on the hill. These objective markers are made by Mantic, by the way. And then there's 3 here, which the French are trying to reach and capture. They're French elves. And there's 3 there, which the beastmen are trying to capture. And when you capture it, you have to be from the end of the second turn onwards. You have to have a unit within 3 inches of one of these, no enemy within 3 inches. And if that's the case, you can claim it. You take it off the board and you get a point. Whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. Simple. So tactics for these armies, and what's their special abilities. So the Beastman army is a pretty fast army. It ignores difficult terrain. There's an ability called Pathfinder, which lets it just ignore it. It also has, most of it has an ability called Thunderous Charge. So Thunderous Charge means you get +1 in the first round when you're charging. In most circumstances, +1 to your damage rolls, so that's what most of them have. In the French, somewhat weaker overall close combat power, But they do have their infantry. I mentioned they count as having their phalanx ability. And what that means, enemy units that charge them from the front lose their thunderous charge, so that's actually quite useful against the beastmen. And also, cavalry and flyers that charge them from the front count as hindered, so they're a -1 to hit. So that'll be useful against the flyers that the herd army has. Okay, and so here's the first turn from the elves, who won the roll off the first turn and decided to go first. So the elves here have cavalry's raced up here to reach the hill and pivoted. And these other units have mostly moved up a little bit or pivoted just to either get close to objectives or get in range. So let's do the shooting. Okay, so we'll have some shooting from the elves, and we'll have these units for a start. We'll shoot something over there, probably that warrior unit in the middle. So these elves will have, first of all, this unit here. It's got a range of 24, and so that looks like a good target. So it has 12 dice, and it normally needs 5s. So these aren't the best elven shooters, these units, but 6s because they moved. There's a couple of hits there, and needs 4s to wound. So that's 2 wounds from them. That's 2. This unit, so it moved, plus it is advanced into some difficult terrain. So it needs, you ignore the difficult terrain you're in if you start in it and halt, but because they're moving, it's going to give them -1. They need 6s, 7s. So if you get to 7s, you halve your dice. So rather than having 12 dice, they have 6 dice on 6s. So another potential one more. So that's 3 wounds. And this unit, they moved, so that's -1. And also, if we check their line of sight from the centre point, then half of the frontage of this unit is obscured by this hedge here, so that's another -1. So once again, there'll be 6 dice needing 6s. So 1, nothing. So that's 3 wounds onto that warrior unit. And then we have the cannon, which could shoot those warriors also, or it could pick something else, like perhaps those chariots there would be another good target. But I think we'll just shoot the warriors again. So 2 dice on 4s, they miss. Yeah, we have these units shooting down there. So we will have this unit here which moved, and it will shoot at the chariots who are obscured by that hill, 1/2 their frontage. So that's 6 dice needing 6s. 2, and they need 5s to wound though, nothing. This unit here will shoot the warriors if it's in range. Ooh, unjust. So once again, that'll be the same. Nothing. And here we have this unit which will shoot the warriors with 12 dice. Ooh, a lot of hits. And 4s. That's 2 wounds. No, 3. and the bolt shooter here, or cannon, which in fact we'll have a go at that beast over there, I think. So 2 dice, it misses as well. Being an elven one, it gets to reroll 1s, so it hits, and it does 2 chances to wound, a +2, so these need 3s, so yes, 1 on that beast. Waiver checks, we've got 11, 14 there, so those Order Beastmen on 2022, they're fine. This one, fine, and lastly the beast, fine. So this warrior regiment here is moved up to guard the flank of those chariots, because these, being elves, have an 18-inch charge range, which is definitely in range and flank of there. So I'm not sure how well they'll hold up against the cavalry, not very well I think. And these chariots, they've advanced so they're just out of charge range of the enemy units, but they themselves have an ability called Wild Charge, so they add an extra D3 to their charge, so they might still be in if the elves stay there. And these don't care, they've just run up as fast as they can. So little to do here for the oops, that should be on 3. The only other action for the herd is this druid here is going to heal those warriors there, and does so, so they remove 2 wounds. And these archers here will shoot that front cavalry unit. So they've got 8 dice, needing 5s, so 1 hit, and needing a 5, nothing. So I said, they're not very good archers. That's the end of the first turn. So here is Elvish turn 2. The hero there has charged that winged beast, because if he causes a wound on it, it can't fly for a round. Slow it down a bit maybe. Here all this cavalry's charged into that warrior unit. Most of these units have stayed still. Over here I didn't see this when I was doing the herd turn, but probably wouldn't have changed it that much. They actually had a flank charge there, though it is hindered because they had to cross the field to get there. Yeah, and this unit pivoted slightly so that beast can't charge them in the flank. So shooting for the elves, got this unit which pivoted. It's going to shoot the cockatrice. Oh, 3 hits. Getting 5s though. 2, so it does 2 wounds to it. And then swiveling over here, first of all we'll have this character who'll use his lute, magic item, or trumpet here, to inspire them to fight harder, so 2 dice, but it doesn't work. The bolt shooter is going to shoot the Bestigors there. Bestigors? Longhorns. It's the old Warhammer coming out. Yeah. And both dice hits. And so that's 5 rolls to wound. And it's got piercing 2, so these will need 2s to wound. So that is 4 wounds on them. This arch unit, so it's okay, so it'll shoot them as well. So that is 12 shots needing 5s. Only 2. 4s, 1 more, so up to 5. Okay, and switching over to here, we have some more shooting at that besticle unit, so this unit here. So that's some more hits. And then needing 4s, so 1 more, so up to 6. This unit will do the same. Fours. 3 more. So now they're in trouble. So next the bolt shooter, which is, would like to shoot the vestigores there, the longhorns, but can't. So instead it will shoot the chariots. 1 hit, 3 chances, needing 3s, so 2 wounds on them. And this last infantry unit can't, because it's pivoted, it can actually shoot the vestigore and will do so. So 2 hits and 1 more wound on them. Okay, so that's the end of the shooting for the Napoleonic Elves. So we've got this Beast of Nature there, that's fine, it's 15, 17. These vestigore, it's rather more problematic. So 8, so that's 18. Let me just check. So that will in fact kill them, so they get to roll again to force a reroll though because of this character who's inspiring, and it's a 13, so they're fine. And the chariots, they're fine as well. This unit in the side here, so it has 12 attacks, doubled to 24, so it normally needs 4s, but it charges through this field here, so it needs 5s. It is elves though, so it rerolls 1s. So first 12, roll that one, so that's, and then it will need 4s to wound with that, so that's 1 wound. And it does that again because it's a flank attack. Reroll that one. So not very good, in fact. And it only does 1 wound to them. Bring them up to 4. And we do the test. So that's 14, and they're 20, 22, so not enough. So now the heavy cavalry into this unit. So each of these regiments has 12 attacks, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s because they're elves, and they also get thunderous charge 2s, so plus 2 to wounds, they'll be wounding on 2s. So the first regiment, oh, there's a lot of 1s there, get rid of the 2s, reroll those 1s. Still a lot of misses, and then 2s to wounds, so that's 6 more damage on them. We'll do that again for the second regiment. That's better, so they all hit, then needing 2s to wound, so that is another huge number of wounds, 5, 10, 15 wounds just there from that second regiment. So there's 12 and 4. So they're on 22. So it will be anything but double 1s. So no, and they've got a character nearby, no, so they're dead. And the unit's been removed and the cavalry has reformed to face this direction. And lastly we have this character attacking the Jabberwocky. It has 5 attacks, hitting on 2s and rerolling the 1 and wounding on 4s. So he does 2 wounds to it, which takes it up to 3 plus 10, so that's 13, but it's 15, 17, so it's okay, but it won't be able to fly next turn. The chariots rolled a 1 for the wild charge. The only regiment they could charge is that one, so that's what they did. Down here, the Beast Lord and Trappers charged that unit. And over here, the Beast of Nature, Jabberwocky, charged into the flank of them. So it couldn't fly and it'll be hindered charging through the woods, but on the other hand it is a flank attack. So first of all, the Trappers in the back, and they're not that powerful, but they are tripling their attacks because it's a rare attack. So they've got 8 dice sending 5s, followed by 5s, so that's 1 wound. And again, that's 2 wounds. So 2 wounds from them. And then in the side, we've got the Great Chieftain. So he has 5 attacks. Like that. And they'll be wounding on 3s. So 2 more. So they take 4 wounds from that. 4 plus 12, 16, oh my goodness. And rather surprisingly, that unit, because there's no one around to inspire it, is gone. Next we'll do this Beast of Nature. So it has 7 attacks, doubled to 14, needing 3s normally, but 4s because it's going through the wood. So that's 2. It'll be wounding on 2s. So that's 2 wounds so far, and again, so that's 7 wounds on them. And roll 7, 14. So they are wavered. So they have 20 attacks sitting on 3s. And winning on 3s, they've got crushing 1, they lose their thunderous charge, otherwise it would be 2s. So that's again 6, 10 wounds on them. And the roll to kill them kills them, but they're close. Actually no, they're not close to a character, so they're dead. And they'll reform to face the cavalry. Now these longhorns, in this situation, similarly 20 attacks on 3s. And they don't get the thunderous charge, but they do get crushing 1 because of the double-handed weapons. So they're wounding on 3s. So that is 10 wounds. Plus 4, so that's wavered. And in the background, Moonfang, they're attacking the bolt thrower. There's 6 attacks, but tripled because it's Origin, so hitting on 3s. And wounding on 2s. And I think he also might have Vicious to reroll 1s. Yes, he does. So, a huge number of wounds there. Roll 2 dice. And roll again because of the character. That bolt throw is dead. And lastly here. So, the Harpies. Have 8 attacks, so 16 attacks. hitting on 4s, 5s because it's a hindered charge there. And then 4s for vicious. So that's 4 wounds from them. Then we have 25 attacks from the warriors on 4s. And wounding on 4s. So that's rather a lot. 6, 7, 8, and 10. So they're on 14 and 8, and they're not close enough, so they're dead as well. So elf turn 3, and as you can see, it's gone rather disastrously. So what to do? So there's charged those harpies. The character's charged into the longhorns. There's a double charge here. They've turned to face, and the character has charged the rear of the Jabberwocky. First of all, this Centenary here is going to cast Bane Chant on the Cuirassier, and it goes off. So they'll be winning on 2s. Shooting, of which there is not much now, just this bolt shooter by the looks of things, and I guess it'll shoot the trappers. So it hits once, 1 wound. Yep, so they take a wound. That's the end of the range phase, and they're okay. So we have this character here attacking this beast. 5 attacks, normally 2s, but needing 3s. Just going through the woods. So 3 wounds, 3 hits. We're on the 1s. No, needing 4s. So that's 2 more wounds. Up to 5 wounds. 12 plus 5, 17. So actually a bit of success there. It's dead. Next, this is the absolutely crucial combat for the elves. If they don't take out these chariots, then things go from very grim to almost impossible, I think. So first we'll do the flank attack. So they need 4s, the infantry, and they're doubling their attacks. So it's not a great start. It's needing 5s. So okay, so 2 wounds, so they're up to 4 now. And do that again because it's a flank attack. And they get to re-roll 1s. Okay. And then 5s. It's another 2, so they're up to 6. And now the cavalry. Can they save the day? Needing 3s, re-rolling 1s. Roll those. Okay, so that's pretty good. And then they'll need 2s. So, oops, that's a 2. 3 1s, so that's 5, 10, 11. So those chariots are up to 17. And the break check for them is dead. Next we have this hero attacking this wounded Vestigor or Longhorn unit and trying to get lucky. It's 5 attacks, 3s. Rolling that. So he's got 4 hits and he needs 3s to wound. So he gets 4 wounds on them. Bringing them up to 14. And rolling to kill them So they're dead. Reroll because of him though. 8, so they are dead. And so that hero advances and rolls a 4, goes forward slightly. And the last charge is this unit down the end here, which is charged the harpies. And it's a hindered charge, but the thought is that gets a little bit lucky, it might kill the harpies, and then it can perhaps advance out of charge range, or at least turn to face. If it goes badly, then they're going to get flanked and killed, but to be honest, there's a lot of bad stuff coming anyway, so it's probably their best chance. So they've got 12 attacks, they need 5s, rerolling 1s. So, not great, oh dear. And then needing 3s. So 2 wounds. And what happens? What's their roll? 7, 8, 9. Which I believe is just a waiver on the harpies. Yes, that's correct. Okay. So here's how it's looking end of elf turn 3. It goes. Not great. Not completely terrible. Herd turn. Here's herd turn 3. So these trappers have come back into the difficult going. The harpies that were over there have charged into that bolt thrower. Copter tries to charge the flank of them. Green Fang's moved around to reposition, and these have charged the flank of that unit. So let's start there. So that'll almost certainly kill them. And so it's 50 attacks. Here's the first 25, hitting on 4s. And winning on 3s. Just like thunderous charge. So that is from the first slot alone. So that 6, 8, 9 wounds. And again. Okay, so a lot. It's another 10, 11, double 1s, save them, almost, so dead. And they will overrun by D6, try and get in range of the token there. So they go 3. So at the end of their turn, they'll be able to claim that. So that's 1 point to the beastman. Done the attack from the cockatrice, which as expected killed that next unit. And now we have the harpies. And just rolled their attacks, which they tripled of course because it's a war engine. And they did 7 wounds to it, plus 4. And no, that doesn't kill it, just wavers it. And down here, this shaman druid could lightning bolt that damaged unit maybe, or it could heal these trappers. Let's heal them because we need them to try and protect these objectives. And yep, so they have their wound cured. And that then is the end of herd turn 3 and it's looking very sparse. So elf, turn 4. So first of all, this wavered cannons turn to face. That unit and the cannoneer has advanced. The heroes charged into the harpies. Over here, I check this before I just make sure this could be done, given the angles and so on. These are going 3 inches that way. Oops. And that cavalry unit is pivoting on its centre and charging down there. Which leaves this character, who being an individual could turn around and charge the cockatrice or Moonfang there, but actually I think what he might do is try and take out those harpies possibly, so that's what he'll do. So first off, Cannoneer will try and heal this unit beside her. That's not very good. Oh no, that's okay. So 3, they get 3 wounds back. So they drop down to 4. Next, that unit will shoot. And it's moving, and it's got 2 individuals, which are -1 to hit, and a unit of there, which is also -1 to hit. So I think they'll shoot the trappers. Oh, 3 hits, needing 3 to wound. So 2 wounds on them. Oops. And nothing else can shoot them. So the roll is 7, 8, 9. And that is in fact wavered. Hero defeating the bolt thrower, 5 attacks. So the -1 he needs, because of magic weapon he usually needs 2s, but he needs 3s, they all hit though. And then he needs 2s to wound. So that is 4 wounds on them. And the roll to destroy them is a 8, 19, 11, 12, which I think is enough. Yes, they're gone. And also the wavering will be removed at the end of the elf turn. So here, another quite important one. So, can the Storm and Cavalry do it? So they need 3s, re-rolling 1s. And then they'll need 3s to wound. They do 3, 6, 7 wounds to Moonfang. Perhaps should have thrown in another character. Okay, and the roll to kill him is a 9, 7, 16, which would kill him, but they have to roll again because he's inspiring. But they do it. Good grief. Dead. And they will sidestep to the left. Lastly, this hero against the harpies. So he hits 3 times and 2s to wound. Oh, only 1. And to kill them is a 10 and 11, which is just enough, and they're gone. Well, this is why you want multi-basing. Okay. Alright. So, end of elf turn 4. And I have to say, it almost looks as though it's changed around from looking very grim to rather more positive. Heard turn 4, and there was not much to do really. So the druid turned to hide behind these trappers, who turned to face. The chieftain charged that unit, hoping to get lucky, take it out maybe. The cockatrice has just run up here, didn't feel like taking on those knights. It is set up so that if the knights charge that unit there, it can at least maybe get a red charge on them. And it claims that objective at the end of the turn as well, so we'll take that down. So they've now got 2 points, the herd. Okay, so the only combat then is this great chieftain, and he has 5 attacks, hitting on 3s and winning on 2s. 3s, 2s. Does he have vicious? No. Okay, so only 2 wounds done. So they go up to 6. And to kill them is 8, 6, it's 14, which is in fact enough to waver them. There we go. And actually I should have just done the heal there from the druid on them as well. Got a staff, so 2 heals, so their damage is fixed again. And that is the end of the herd turn 4. Elf turn with cavalry, and the hero charge into that unit. These units, a couple of them move. The wavered unit there does a back order, so it just moves backwards a few inches. The cannon moves, so it won't be able to shoot. And what happened here is this hero. So first of all, he's an individual, so he can pivot. He's height 3, so he can see over that unit, and he's going to charge this hero and fight him in combat. Get past the axe. So, and one advantage he has here is he does have a weapon, which means he doubles his attacks against individuals. So we'll see how that goes. So first off, Cantoneer is going to either heal that unit or perhaps cast Bane Chant on that hero. Might be a better idea actually. So she'll do that, and it works. So he'll be at +1 to wound. Shooting, so the cannon can't shoot and they can't shoot. They're wavered. This unit can shoot at those trappers, but due to the line of sight and them being in difficult terrain and moving, it's at -2, so half dice, 6s. It's 1 hit, and it wounds. They take a wound. And there's no other shooting, so we'll roll for that. Nothing. So now this combat, we'll do the hero first. So he has 5 attacks on 3s. Reroll 1s actually because he's an elf. And wounding on 4s, 3s. So that's 4 wounds. So they're up to 8. And then the cavalry. So the cavalry did charge through this to get there. They're at -1 to hit, so they'll need 4s, re-rolling 1s. And that is not very good so far. some ones there to re-roll. Okay. And then needing 2s. Actually, because they went through that, it's worse than that. They need 4s, so they don't get their thunderous charge. So only 4 wounds. So they're on 12, so that's not particularly great. May not have been a good move, and they do nothing. Oh dear. Okay. So this combat, hero against the Beast Lord, Great Chieftain, whatever his name is. So 10 attacks on 2s. Rerolling that because he's an elf. And then normally needing 5s, 4s because of the crushing strength that he has, but 3s because they have the Bane chance. So 3s. So 5 wounds. And let's see what happens. 10, 15. That would kill him. I have to roll again because he is inspiring. So 10. So that is nothing. Turn 5. So those herd warrior unit will countercharge the cavalry, and they will charge in the rear by the cockatrice. That's not going to be good for the cavalry. Over here he charges the hero back, and the shaman's going to try and heal that unit. So let's see how that goes. Yep, heal. The trappers will shoot that wounded unit at the back there. Can't see the full, at least half of its front though, so I need 6s. 1 hit. It causes a wound. See if it does anything. 7 plus 7 is 14, so they are wavered again. Okay, so the combat here, the chieftain, he'll need 5s and 4s here. He hasn't got any special equipment. I mean, sorry, 3s, and then 4s. So he does 3 wounds back. And does that do anything? 6, 7, 8, 9, no. So the beast taking the rear, tripling its attacks actually. No, 1 more bunch of 7. So those are all the 1. So it did 9 wounds in the back. Don't get charged in the back, it's bad. And then in the front, all these needing 4s. And then needing 5s. Okay. So they're probably dead. This is double 1s. No, so they're gone. And the cockatrice is turned around. Here's the elf moves. That one's moved on to that objective. He's charged that unit. He has charged the hero again. This wavered unit, unfortunately that it was wavered, it's just pivoted. Let's see what happens. This hero here against that unit, 5 attacks, they will hit. Winning on 3s, so 3 more wounds, up to 15. Do they break? 9 plus 15. So 24. They've got a break value of 22, so they are gone. We've done the shooting here actually, so the cannon will shoot the trappers over there. And it needs 5s, so 1 hit does 3, and then 2s. So 3 wounds to them. And see if they break. So 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're wavered again. And over here, 12 shots at the cockatrice. Needing 6s because they're moving. 2, needing 5s, nothing. Cantoneer will heal the infantry. We're rolling the 1. So that is 5 wounds off them. So they're down to 2. The hero will attack the Beast Lord. Like that. We're rolling the 1. And then needing 4s to wound. So that's another 4 wounds on him, so he is up to 9. And to see if he is killed, so 5 plus 9, that would kill him. Again, because he's inspiring, he's dead. And he will charge 4d6. 1. There we go. So the herd turns 6 and at the end of the game, if a 1, 2, 3 is rolled at the end of this turn. In fact, there's very little options here, so this will just charge them and attack. So it normally need 3s, but because of phalanx, it will need 4s. It's only 1 hit. And it does do a damage. Does it do anything? 10, not even, no. Here the druid, he's been yelling these trappers every turn, why not do it again? And yes, down to 1. And now, does the game end? 1, 2, 3, yes. And it's over. So that is the end of the game. And so the herd raised those 2 objectives, so they've got 2 points. And the Napoleonic Elves, they have that one there. They have a regiment, which is 3 unit strength. That cockatrice is only 1 unit strength, and it's not within 3 of the objective anyway. And something crucial I've only just realised is that end of Elf turn 2, they should have actually claimed that objective there, because they had 2 cavalry units on it. That trapper unit there is only unit strength 1. Those 2 cavalry units were unit strength 6, so they could claim it. So, and that makes it 2 all then in a draw. And I don't think that would have changed any of the moves over here much. So, interesting. There we go. Thanks for watching.